Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Bart Barclay. I'm a disability attorney here located in Dallas. And the thing that we're talking about today is for claimants over the age of 50 and why that age is so important. In fact, being over the age of 55 for Social Security disability is even more important than being age 50. I'll explain why. One of the things that happens when a claimant turns 50 is that the rules for determining a person, determining whether or not he or she is disabled, actually improve. So let's start with claimants under the age of 50, 49 and below. Basically, what you have to prove is that a person is unable to perform even an unskilled sedentary job. And what that means is that for those under the age of 50, he or she would be unable to sit for a maximum of 6 out of 8 hours a day, stand or walk for two, carry up to 10 pounds occasionally, and carry under 10 pounds frequently, and would be given all the normal breaks that a person would normally have: a lunch break, a break in the morning, a break in the afternoon. Now, that's the physical part of that unskilled job. Now, when you talk about unskilled, that's a job that takes basically 30 days or less to learn. That's a pretty high burden to overcome for those under the age of 50. There's lots of unskilled sedentary jobs in the national economy. It's not a difficult thing to a job to fit to a person that even has a severe disabling condition. This is even at the hearing level. And so, if you're under the age of 50, that's the burden that you have to overcome. A rather large burden, and that's one of the reasons why you see such a high denial rate within the Social Security disability system, because the presumption is that you're able to work. You have to overcome that presumption. Okay, so we move on to the person that's 50 years old and above. Well, now the things change. So let's just talk about the ability to do physical exertion. Remember, we talked about the claimants under the age of 50. If they can even do sedentary work, again, sit for 6 out of 8 hours a day, stand or walk for two, carry up to 10 pounds. Well, if that same person, 50 years old or older, can do the sedentary work, he or she actually has a chance of being found disabled. So that really helps now. So, under the age of 50, can do sedentary work, disabled. Not disabled. Over the age of 50, can do sedentary work, disabled. So that's a huge difference, and you can see how the rules change in your favor. Now, it's not that easy. In addition to finding whether or not, well, let's talk about physical exertion for those 55 and older, just so you know. If a person can do sedentary work and now even light work, so that's stand or walk for 6 out of 8 hours a day, sit for two, and carry up to 20 pounds, occasionally 10 pounds frequently, those for 55 and older have even a better chance of being found disabled, because if they can even do light work, they'll be found disabled. Now, being the government, it's not that simple. And here's why. If you have transferable work skills, then you're going to have a very difficult time being found disabled for those over the age of 50. Those transferable work skills are skills that the government takes into consideration from work you've done in the past 15 years. So I'll explain that now. If you had an 8th grade education and you've only worked physical labor, you're over the age of 55, and your conditions are very severe, you're going to be found disabled. That's just the way it goes. If you're college educated and you've worked at a management style position, you're going to have a much more difficult time being found disabled for those over the age of 55. And I'll explain. Because over the last 15 years, the jobs that you've worked, you've created these management skills where you could do a sit down type of job and you wouldn't have a lot of physical exertion. And that means that you can transfer those skills into other work. That means you're not disabled, sadly enough. It means that while the person with the eighth grade education that's worked physical labor gets to be found disabled with the exact same physical limitations that you have, or mental limitations, but that's for a different story. That's a different day. But with physical limitations, he or she gets to be found disabled. You get denied. Now, uh, there's some other things to take into consideration as well. So, if you have these transferable work skills, it doesn't mean that you automatically get denied. What it means is that the burden returns back to sedentary work. And what I mean by that is the burden returns to overcoming sedentary work. And what I mean by that is, remember we talked about that claimant that was under the age of 50. We had to show that he or she was unable to even do sedentary work. Well, that claimant, now 50 years and older, we have to show if he or she has transferable work skills. What we have to show now is that he or she is even unable to do sedentary work. So you see the burden became much higher for that 53-year-old claimant, 54, 55-year-old claimant. The burden has become much higher. It is now the same burden as a claimant that was under the age of 50. So I think the best thing to do is if you're looking at filing for disability, those are some things that you need to examine. Speaking with a disability, an experienced disability attorney like myself, we can evaluate what you've done over the last 15 years. Does it give you transferable work skills? Or do you have additional limitations that don't allow you to transfer those skills into quote unquote sedentary work? So it's a good place to start. Everybody's going to fall into either under the age of 50, 49 and below, 50 and older, or 55 and older. I mean, it encompasses every age group there. So that is a good place for everybody to start. If you're under the age of 50, you know what you have in front of you. If you're 50 and older, you know whether or not you're likely to be approved. So hope this helps. Call my office at any time. Glad to discuss it. 888-780-9125.